Welcome to Sticks Outfitter. My name's Craig, and this is Brad with DSD, Dave Smith Decoys. We're at the Dave Smith Decoy headquarters, and we're going to go over turkey decoy placement and strategies.
All right, let's do it.
So I'm new to turkey hunting. I don't know a thing. You got like 8 different decoys. What am I supposed to use and when?
Okay, well, I would start out with, if I could only afford one decoy, I'd start out with a hen decoy.
Okay.
And from there, the next decoy I would get would be a gobbler decoy. And so my favorite setup is at least one hen and one gobbler decoy. Because I like to play the jealousy card. In the springtime, the spring turkey season, the gobblers are, they tend to be very competitive. They're trying to fight for the rights to breed the hens.
Right.
And so if you can incorporate a gobbler with a hen, you're portraying that, you know, that competition card.
Right, so this Tom's already got his hen.
Right. And so you're trying to elicit a response from, you know, an incoming bird or group of birds that want to take that hen away.
So we got initially 2 purposes for decoys, is mating and fighting, right?
That's right.
So let's go into the hen decoys. What, you got like 3 or 4 different hens, right?
Yeah, we make 4 different styles of hen decoys. There's an upright hen, which is a bird that's in a standing still position and she has her head up. And that one is one of our more popular poses because it's not only good for attracting a gobbler, but it elicits a lot of fighting response from other hen. She's challenging another hen
For a Tom.
Right. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, she's insubordinate, I guess is what I would say.
That works.
She's not afraid of the other hen, and so that will oftentimes engage like a dominant hen to want to actually fight the decoy. Turkeys are just like people; they want to see a good fight. So a lot of times, if you can get the hen in there and you can get her fighting your decoy,
you'll get a bunch of the guys lining up.
That's right. So you can play that card too.
Okay.
So that's probably our most popular decoy. We also have a feeding hen decoy, which is more of a relaxed pose. It gives more of a confidence.
Welcome everyone. So it'll bring in hens too, just to hang out with.
Sure. And so that tends to be a decoy that I will add beyond, you know, an upright hen and a Jake or a Tom for confidence. And if I'm in a field hunting situation, I might put out 3 or 4 feeding hens just to give it that really relaxed, content, you know, look. This is what we call our submissive hen right here. This is a hen that's ready to breed. You lay her flat on the ground, and a lot of times the gobbler will come in and actually want to mount this decoy. They'll climb right on top, and it will support the weight of a live bird. So you can put him right next to another gobbler decoy too and play that jealousy card really well when it looks like you put a gobbler decoy and he's ready to get on top and start breeding her. Or we sell what we call our turkey flock, which is a submissive hen, 1 feeding hen, an upright hen, and a Jake. And that's a pretty good package right there. That's a package right there that is kind of an all-around, you know, cover all of your bases type package of decoys. And then we have what we call our leading hen, which is a bird that she gives the appearance that she's leaving. The leading hen is designed to bring that Tom to follow her up.
Okay.
Basically, like, I'm getting out of here. She's in a walking, kind of striding position.
So the Toms just follow them all day, basically, during the season. Just like for humans.
Just like for humans, yep. Wherever the ladies go, the guys are gonna follow.
So going into Jake strategy, so we just went into hens. We're gonna put a Jake out there, not as aggressive as the Tom, but something that would make a Tom jealous.
That's right. The Jake is a more using the Jake decoy is a more conservative approach because the Jake is in more of a subordinate, less dominant posture. It's in a half strut pose. It's a smaller bird because it's essentially an immature gobbler. It's a first year gobbler. So their body size tends to be smaller, and they aren't as likely to engage in fighting, although they will still elicit that jealousy response. If you can play the jealousy card, putting a Jake with a hen or multiple hens, you can really take a gobbler off.
So Tom would walk in and just be like, this guy, hold my beer and watch
Really?
this. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the response you can get with a Jake decoy. Now on the flip side, the Strutter decoy that we make, that's a much more dominant posture, and so he tends to be really effective early in the season when the birds are still establishing a pecking order, because turkeys go through, they kind of evolve throughout the season. You know, there'll be a big large wintering flocks. Whoa, what do we got there? We got casualty.
We got someone flying around.
And once they start thinking about breeding, you have the gobblers will start establishing, you know, what's referred to as a pecking order.
Right.
They're establishing their dominance within the flocks, and there's a lot of fighting going on at that time. And so a Strutter decoy is really effective that time of the year. It can also be really effective if you're targeting a really dominant bird. You know, there's a lot of times what turkey hunters will refer to as the boss gobbler. You know, they typically have large harems of hens, and they're oftentimes unchallenged because they're aggressive, they're fighters, they don't lose.
So if you're going for the boss gobbler,
right,
you need to have a strutter.
You challenge him with a strutter, and a lot of times you'll get him to come greater distances. He has more attracting power than a wimpy looking Jake,
right.
You know. So, you know, I mean, you can always get lucky with a Jake decoy if you happen to be right in his path, but those big dominant boss gobblers, they follow their harems of hens around, and you need to give them a really good reason for them to actually leave their hens.
Right.
And that's what the Strutter is all about.
I mean, it's just like elk almost.
Yeah, he's a challenger and on his turf, and
right.
You know, sometimes they'll come running into that decoy.
Say I'm a beginner, I just want to get my first tom, my first turkey. Is a Strutter like this going to be too much and scare off some of those guys?
It can be. It's more of a situational question that you're asking. You know, do I use a Strutter or do I use a Jake? The Jake is more of an all-around decoy, so I tend to use the Jake decoy more often, and I would recommend that somebody get there as a first gobbler decoy a Jake. I mean, you can have other Jakes come and fight the Jake decoy, or I mean, sometimes you'll get other Jakes fighting the Strutter too, but just speaking in general terms, you're going to attract more gobblers to the Jake decoy and not necessarily, you know, have them shying away because he's big and aggressive and dominant looking like the Strutter.
So how about the size of the flock that you put out there? Like you said, your ideal is a Jake or a tom and a hen. So you got 2 decoys. Is there a situation where you need 6 or 8 or anything like that, or?
The more decoys you put out, you know, more or less, the more attracting power, you know, drawing power that you're going to have in big, wide open country. If you're hunting on the edge of a big, wide open field, for example, more decoys is going to give you greater visibility. So in that situation, I would tend to use more decoys. If you're in tight in the woods and relying more on your calling to bring the birds in close enough, you know, by the time they see your decoy or decoys, they're, you know, just about in range, that 1 or 2 decoys, you know, would be plenty. And also it just depends on, you know, how far are you going. If I'm in Eastern Oregon and I'm, you know, hiking miles and miles and miles, I will use 1 or 2 decoys just because carrying a bunch of decoys is more cumbersome. But if I'm going a short distance and I'm going to be in the same location for an extended period of time, you know, I'll typically bring 4 decoys or more at the time. So.
All right, so now we got our decoys. How do I set them up? Where do I set them up? What positions and all that? Okay,
so generally I like to place my gobbler decoy in the middle of my setup. Wherever I want to take the shot, where I want the bird to end up is where I put my gobbler decoy.
Okay.
I like, when I'm bow hunting, I like to put the decoy at about 10 yards. I'm really comfortable out to 10 yards. I'll go a little farther than that, maybe 15 to 20 yards if I'm using a shotgun. But keep in mind that the bird will typically want to face the decoy, the gobbler decoy, when he comes in. And so you should keep that in mind, knowing which direction you like the bird to be facing when you take the shot. I personally, when I'm shooting a bow, I like to shoot the bird either head on or quartering into me. So I'll typically face my decoy quartering away from me, and that's going to give me that head on shot. Some guys actually like it the other way around, either because they prefer to take the shot quartering away or directly behind, or because they want to be able to hide their movement when the bird comes in, which you can do. If he's facing away from you, his fan will oftentimes, if he's in full strut, his fan is going to block his head, and that's nice because you can get your shotgun up or you can draw your bow. But I really like that head on or quartering into shot. So I'll put my Jake or my Strutter Decoy quartering away from me. Let's say I put him at 10 yards, and then I'll typically put a hen or group of hen decoys in front of him like he's pursuing them.
So they're running away, kind of they're all quartering away from your blind.
Yeah, and the hen, the direction that the hen's face isn't as important. Though if I'm using the submissive hen, I'll usually place her so that he's coming up from behind her, like he's about to climb on top and start breeding her. And I'll give myself typically about 4 feet or so that the bird can get between the hen and the gobbler.
Thanks for watching. Check out DaveSmithDecoys.com for more information on DSD. They got some awesome decoys, as you can see here. Other than that, subscribe to our channel if this is your first time here. And until next time, keep hunting, fishing,
and living in the sticks.
Got it.